It's a beautiful day here in February. We're going to be trying something new today. Leslie's going to share what's going on. Hey, Ernie, what's up?
All right, do we have people hopping on already?
Say hello in the chat.
Okay. I'm working in the background here, guys.
Okay.
I'm not hosting this time, you guys. We have Joe here live.
I'm back.
It's actually Joe. He's here. So
Yay.
I'm excited that he is back. I am going to share this on Facebook. So you guys, one thing that you could do that would be really helpful to not only us, but other people who may be looking to make some changes in their health, in their lifestyle, etc., would be to share this on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, go to Barton Publishing Natural Health Reports. We post a lot of really good information there, but share this video, share it to your personal page so that other people can take advantage of the information that we share each Tuesday. There's a lot of really good things happening. We're getting a lot of really good feedback, a lot of success stories. And so we want to make sure that that is out there in the world. It's a free webinar that we're doing. So let's take advantage of that. Also, if you haven't registered for the webinar and you're seeing this magically, make sure that you register for this at bartonwebinar.com. I will type that both on Facebook and in the chat here on Zoom, but you'll get reminders about this webinar. So we don't want you to miss it. Okay, I am going to get this shared on Facebook, which I can't talk and do at the same time. So I'm going to let Joe kind of take it away here.
All right. Well, hey, I'm just going to say hello to people that are chiming in on the chat here. Hey, to Ernie, good to see you. Sunny St. Lucia, I'm jealous. And we got Pam. How you doing, Pam? Good to see you. And Wendell and Skip. And let's see, Sue, welcome. So chime in, say hello, find the little chat button and type in where you're from and say whatever you want to say to us today. So we're going to have a lot of new people joining us today. We've just been getting a lot more customers the past couple months from our Facebook campaigns, which is awesome. And we've got a lot of new subscribers on YouTube. And so we're just feeling a lot of good momentum in the diabetes reversal webinar community and the diabetes solution kit. We're going to be going over the diabetes solution kit in a little bit more detail today, because today's topic is how did I get here and how can I reverse it? So Dr. Saunders is here, and as we're getting loaded up here on Facebook, just want to encourage you guys, today we're going to try a little something new for our participants. If you will be brave enough to join us on video, just like enable your video, I think it's in the bottom left corner if you're on a desktop or laptop. You can just click, what's it say, start video, and it'll show up. We'll probably have you muted, right, Leslie?
Yes.
I think you'll be muted, but we just like to see who we're talking to, and it's kind of fun to build a little bit of community. So hello, Deborah, and hello, Jane, hello, Pastor Phil, and hello, Robert, Bob, good to see all you guys. Today is going to be a good webinar. Hey, while we're also killing a little bit of time, what did you think of that Super Bowl? Patrick Mahomes came through in the end. That was quite the game. I did not think the Chiefs were going to pull it off. I thought the 49ers were going to win, but I'm partial because I'm a Vikings fan, and the 49ers destroyed the Vikings a few weeks ago, so I was kind of hopeful that the 49ers would prove that they were the best team out there. But it was not to be. But anyways, it was a good game, so good stuff. All right, well, Scott, let's just turn things over to you here quick. I think we're live on Facebook now.
Yes.
Good job, Leslie. Thanks for navigating this for us. And let's get into things. Dr. Saunders, you want to give, we've got a lot of new people watching today, and just give us a little bit of a recap. Tell us again who you are and a little bit of your journey, how you went from traditional MD to now you're more functional medicine and integrative nutrition and all that good stuff.
Okay, so I started out at medical school, UCLA medical school, just standard, everything like regular. I did a family practice residency program in Los Angeles, Northridge Hospital. And then I got board certified in family practice, and I got a job at the county of Santa Barbara. And I worked in the county clinic, and people would come in and they'd have, oh, your blood pressure's high, here, take this drug. And oh, your cholesterol's high, take this drug. Oh, your sugar is high, here's something. I'd be writing prescriptions all day long. And but people would come in with the same problems over and over again. They weren't getting better. In fact, the people were taking their medications and their blood sugar was still elevated. Their cholesterol was still elevated. They were getting heart attacks and having complications of diabetes. I was sending people to get amputations of their legs who had diabetes. And after a while, I thought, isn't there a better way? And so I started researching it, and I found the Institute for Functional Medicine and A4M, the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. And what they do is they look at function, and they say, how can we restore function to the body instead of just treating the symptoms with drugs? So I started researching that, and this was 20 years ago when there were only a few doctors doing this kind of stuff. I would go to conferences and there would be, 300 to 500 people there. Now when I go to a conference, there's 5,000 doctors there from all different kinds of modalities. There are medical doctors, MDs, there's DOs, there's chiropractors, acupuncturists, nutritionists, and they're all practicing this functional approach to healthcare, which is to restore function. So today our discussion is, how did I get here? And the simple answer to that is too much. Our whole society, the way we live, the way we're taught to live, the way we're told we should live, all the things that we consider success in the American society, in the American world, is, or in most of the world, in England and Europe and pretty much everywhere in the world now, success is considered to have a lot, and having a lot of what? A lot of everything, a lot of food and travel, and I have 3 cars and 2 houses, and then I'm more successful or whatever because I have more stuff, and really. Diabetes happens because we have too much food, and then not enough exercise on top of that. But really, it's too much food. It's too much of carbohydrates generally, but food. So people who are told and they listen to their nutritionist telling them, eat 5 small meals a day with snacks in between so that you never have an empty stomach. That is the cause of diabetes. So we're told, everything we're told is wrong, and it causes diabetes. From the 1970s to now, everything we were told, the high carbohydrate diets, the never having an empty stomach, snacking all the time, eating small meals all the time, that's all causing diabetes, because every time we eat, we release insulin, which causes us to hold on to fat. And so people are eating small amounts. They go, I swear I'm just eating a tiny amount and I'm gaining weight. Well, yeah, it's because when you're eating frequently throughout the day, then every time you're releasing insulin, which tells your body, hey, hold on to fat. And that's what it does. So there's a reason. It's not you. It's not too much. You're doing everything you're told to do. But what we were told to do is wrong. You just have to kind of get that into the beginning part. So the way you got here, if those of you who have type 2, the way you got here is too much. That's really that's the way it is.
And so another thing I was thinking about, because I just recorded a new video about diabetes and low-calorie sweeteners too. So I think there's too much misinformation out there. Like even like the keto diet is really popular right now, but a big part of keto is like no carbohydrates, but they don't say a whole lot about not consuming like the fake sugar, sugar substitutes like saccharin, sucralose, NutraSweet, all those types of things, because those actually have studies that have come out now that those actually are even a bigger cause of type 2 diabetes because of how it basically tricks your pancreas. And so I think, can you talk about that, the misinformation that's out there?
Yeah, this is really interesting. So first of all, on that line that you mentioned about the artificial sweeteners, most people don't realize that our bodies are intelligent. It's an intelligent system. It's not just reactive, it's proactive. So this intelligent system, when you taste sweet, your pancreas is going up, sweet, that means sugar. That means I got to put out more insulin. So every time you eat sweet, even though there's no calories at all, you're putting out more insulin to manage that sugar. Well, like you said, tricking the pancreas into thinking there's sugar, but there's no sugar. So you put out insulin. Well, what's the result of that? You become insulin resistant. And so that's exactly what you're talking about. Number one, you're getting insulin resistant because you're eating artificial sweeteners, and that includes stevia. People go, oh, that's totally natural. It's a leaf extract. It's good for you and all that. And maybe so, but you have to be careful with it because that can trick your pancreas into putting out more insulin. You get insulin resistance. The other thing, remember, insulin is the hormone that tells your body to hold on to fat. So you're going, I don't get it. I'm only eating sugar substitute. I have had 0 calories. Why am I getting fat? It's because of hormones. It's not because of excess calories necessarily. It's hormones. And these hormones are your metabolic hormones that tell your body when to store fat, when to use fat. And insulin is because you're eating, you're getting all this extra food in, then the insulin goes up. That tells your body store fat. So that's the big thing that's happening with keto diets. People are eating these keto diets and they're going, this is crazy. I'm doing everything right and I'm gaining weight. I should be burning fat like crazy. But if your insulin is high, you can't do that. And so you kind of, I've had several people that I've had to tell them absolutely 0 taste of sweet, no fruit, no artificial sweeteners, no drinks, nothing that tastes sweet, so that they could actually start burning fat. There's so much misinformation out there on diet and what we should eat. Remember, whenever somebody is marketing something, they're telling you the part of the story that helps them to market their product, whatever it is, whether it's a nutritional supplement or a food or even a product or whatever. So you have to be careful and try to get the bigger picture. And that's one of the things that we try to do here, is to give everybody the bigger picture and say, oh, what's the effect of that artificial sweetener? No, it has no calories, like you buy that can of Zero. It has 0 calories, but the taste can trick your body into making more insulin and cause you to put on fat anyway.
Yeah. Wow. So bit of housekeeping. It looks like my screen changed a little bit to see a bunch of names pop up on the screen, which I think means that if you enable your camera, I'll be able to see your face and wave at you at least. I don't know I don't think it'll be unmuted, but kind of fun. We'll have to see how this works. We're experimenting a little bit. But yeah, if you go down in the bottom left of Zoom and hit start video, don't worry about having a bad hair day. I know it's easier for me to not have a bad hair day with my hairstyle, but Leslie was worried a little earlier. It's like, come on, everybody looks beautiful. So
No.
Don't enable your video if you're naked, though. That's one thing that we don't want to see that. So, So anyways, at the end of this, so I want to make a quick little announcement here. At the end of today's webinar, we are going to invite or allow one lucky participant to stay on, and we're going to give them some free product. So a little pitch here for Synachroma, Healthy Gut Support, Nervala, and turmeric. So we're going to give away, actually, I think I'll give away 2 bottles, maybe even 3, to whoever is kind enough to stay on afterwards and share a little bit of your testimonial with us on a success story that you have using the Diabetes Solution Kit. Just want to, hear from you. So if you are interested in staying on at the end of this webinar and sharing, please let us know in the chat session, and we will queue you up for that. So, all right, thanks for that. And another housekeeping note: if you're watching this recording on YouTube, you can register to join us live for future webinars by going to www.bartonwebinar.com. bartonwebinar.com. I guess you don't need the wwws anymore. That's like old habit. So bartonwebinar.com, you can register to be notified by email for future broadcasts, and we usually go Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Central Time. So there's the link in the chat. Thank you, Leslie. And also on bartonwebinar.com, we link to our YouTube channel where you can subscribe, have a link to that. Also, any products that we talk about, like the ones I just held up on the screen, those are linked in that as well. And the Diabetes Solution Kit. This is the main manual report workbook that we teach from, and we show people how to go from too much, like Dr. Saunders was talking about, to just the right amount. And so inside here, we've got natural remedies, we've got the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 plan, carb restriction, we've got food preparation, exercise, dietary and herbal supplements. We've got a recipe guide, cookbook, carb counting cheat sheet, personal meal planner, and exercise planner, and a grocery list. So this is the report that we sell that most people that watch this probably already have a copy of, but you can get this at right from bartonwebinar.com, which is has links to all of our stuff to make it easy. So all right, back to our topic. So how did I get here? I was thinking too, Dr. Scott, now a lot of people can sometimes carry around guilt and shame, and I do this myself sometimes. Like if I don't eat a good meal, if I eat, some junk food, or I eat some ice cream and, too much, whatever, a lot of times we can beat ourselves up. And I think, that question of how did I get here, it's a good question to ask, but at the same time, I think we need to be full of forgiveness for ourselves and to not carry around that guilt and shame, because that leads to stress, which really just makes things worse. And so I think for all of us to acknowledge that we are all human and we all make mistakes, and that's okay. Like that's part of our journey. And so, right, Dr. Scott, anything to add to that? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute. You're saying something good though, I know it. How do we?
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so the stress is actually a big thing with diabetes, because stress, the hormones of stress like cortisol make us resistant to insulin, and insulin resistance is one of the things that causes us to have diabetes, because that's the main thing with type 2 diabetes is insulin resistance. So stress is actually a big problem there. The things that we do in our society are being in a hurry, for example, always having too much to do and not enough time to do it, is counterproductive in many different ways, because what we eat are then things that are quick and easy, and generally those are things that don't help us to improve our functionality. But as far as like feeling guilty about things, it's really there's a good way to do it. And if I always ask people, can I help you feel better about this? When they say, oh man, I had some chocolate the other day. It was so good and I felt so guilty. I want to help you feel better about it. It's not the occasional going out of your normal pattern. It's the consistency that you have. So if you are every day eating good food and you're doing the 20-gram carbohydrate diet, and then somebody comes over and they bring a pizza and you're having a party and they're watching whatever football game, and you have a few slices of pizza, and then you go, oh crap, I'm off my diet. You know what? That doesn't matter. It's okay. There's such a thing as repentance. And repentance just means you go back on it the next day. It's not a problem. And you know what? There was some research done on this with Sachin Panda, who does research on circadian rhythm. And he said that, he asked the question, now these mice they're on the perfect diet, and they're not eating after 6 o'clock, and they don't get any illnesses, and they live a long time. So what happens if they party on the weekends? What if they only do that 5 days a week instead of 7? And what he found was that they did just as well, that it was okay to take weekends off and to eat later and to go off of their diet, go outside of their normal diet. So it's okay. All you have to do is, just like anything else they'll tell you in Alcoholics Anonymous or anything else, just go back. Just every time you fall, get up. And then at times you'll consider it not a fault. My wife, for example, she loves chocolate. So she just has a limitation. She eats chocolate on Sunday. That's her day she gets chocolate. So she makes sure that there's a chocolate bar in the house on Sunday, and she'll have some of it. And then the rest of the days of the week, she's fine. But then she always remembers, if chocolate comes up, she'll go, oh yeah, Sunday I'll have that. So it's okay. So that's another way to do it, to say, there are things you can do outside of the strictness of our program that are just fine. They're not going to hurt you.
Yeah. Leslie, chime in for a second. I'm distracted with something.
What did you say? I'm scared now.
Just chime in and say hello to everyone. And you did an absolutely fantastic job the last couple of weeks while I was gone. So thank you, Leslie. You're awesome.
You're welcome.
We all love you and appreciate you.
We have quite a few people on Facebook as well right now. So again, if you guys haven't shared on Facebook, please do that. Please share the webinar there too. I don't think anyone is on video right now. If you guys can try to turn your video on. So if you're watching on your smartphone or on your computer, see if you are able to turn your video on. I did allow, I set some permissions so that you should be able to do that, but we'd love to be able to see you. You can leave it on mute. Bottom left corner, Joe says.
Yeah, bottom left corner of Zoom, it should say start video. So that turns your camera on. So that
we would love to see you guys.
Yeah.
The other option is that I can promote people to panelists, but I don't know if we want to do that right now. So
yeah,
we're trying this out, guys.
We could have hundreds of panelists.
I know. So it'd be right next to wherever you unmute or mute your button. A lot of you have hopped on here before. Do you remember how you did that the last time? It should be next to that.
So Ernie and Melanie both said that they don't see it. So all they see is unmute. So maybe it must just be a setting, possibly.
It must be. I can try, let's see.
Yeah, switch it to see if you can make everybody.
I'm gonna try Pam here.
Okay.
I'm gonna try. Okay, hold on here.
Our regulars. So Yeah. Pam, just want to again let you know we've been thinking about you and praying for you. You went through a pretty tragic loss, and so that's just part of being a family here. Like we're here for each other, and so we want people to be able to share the struggles that they're going through, because I think Dr. Saunders has helped thousands of people, and to have this webinar available to you guys for free, like typically this is something that you'd have to join a membership to be a part of, but like this really is something that we're doing because we truly want to help people. It's one of our core values. And so that's, we're here for you guys, and any questions that you have, any struggles you're having, any roadblocks you're hitting or obstacles, that's what we're here for. So Scott, could you kind of go through the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 plan again? I think that's just important. That plus combined with the 610 reset, that's, I guess, part of the topic today is how do you get back on track? So like that, the 610 reset is like a jump start, like to get back on track. But that plus the, just the regular teaching of phase 1, phase 2, phase 3.
Oh, okay. So in the diabetes solution kit, there's an explanation of how to have less. And so remember, the way you got into the situation of type 2 is to have too much, to listen to all of the people that are telling you that you need more of this and more of that. So in going through the solution kit, what you'll find is phase 1 is just cutting all of the carbohydrates out. And this has been tested in many different ways. You can cut all the fat out too. That works too. You can't really cut all the protein out. You actually need protein. But as far as calories go, cutting the carbs out is the simplest and best way to do this kind of work because we tend to store too much carbohydrate. So the phase 1 is a 20-gram carbohydrate diet, and that's not very much. That's a couple of slices of bread, for example, for a whole day. That's all you can have is 20 grams of carbohydrates in a whole day. So so if you wasted by eating an apple, then you're done. That's all the carbs you get. But that's net carbs. You have to be careful that there's a lot of carbohydrates that are not digestible, things that we call fiber. And the fiber is actually really good for us because it helps us to grow the good bacteria in our intestines, and we need it for our colons to function properly and to clean out our bowels. So we need the fiber. So it's a good idea to eat things like lettuce and celery and broccoli and cabbage and all that stuff. And they're free. They don't. In the book, you'll see that yes, they do contain a small amount of carbs, but we don't count that because we're looking at net carbs, which are the ones that you can absorb. So it's the starches and sugars that are what we're trying to limit primarily. And then you can eat fat, and again, it's not a good idea to eat frequently all day long. Have your breakfast and lunch, or a breakfast and a late dinner. 2 meals is great. 3 meals is okay if that's the way it works best for you. And then over that time, you have to be really careful because the blood sugar will start to decline. And if you're on medications that can drop your blood sugar too low, you may need to get with your doctor and let them know, hey, my blood sugar is dropping low since I've been on this diet, and they may tell you which medication you might need to stop taking. So it's important to kind of keep track of your blood sugar while you're doing this. Even if you don't normally check your blood sugar, while you're doing this, it's a good idea, especially if you're on medications that can lower blood sugar, like insulin would be a big one. Phase 2 then is the reintroduction of more carbohydrates. While you're checking your blood sugar, so that you can know what kinds of things raise your blood sugar. I had someone who last week he was in and said, boy, I just ate some beans and my blood sugar went up to, way high, over 300. And it was because of the carbohydrates. It's the way they process the carbohydrates. Some people can eat beans and they tolerate them really well. And so in checking your blood sugar, you can see exactly what this food is doing to your blood sugar once you're off the medications and your blood sugars are normal. And then phase 3 is the rest of your life. And that's really just maintaining what you have and not eating those things that are going to raise your blood sugar up, to make the insulin go up, and then cause you to go back into insulin resistance. So that's the three steps of the program. And then we have this other sort of side program that we're talking about. That's what Joe said, the 6-10 program. And that is no food after 6, and then go to bed by 10. And that's really more for your circadian rhythm to help you tolerate stress better. If you go to bed with an empty stomach, then you make a hormone called human growth hormone at night. And that human growth hormone repairs your body. It fixes everything. So people, today we see so much people, they need knee replacements and their bodies are wearing out. They have this constant wear and tear on their bodies because they don't repair every night. But our bodies are made to repair every night, but we need to go to bed by 10 o'clock with an empty stomach. And so that's why no food after 6.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's good stuff. I got to admit, I have not been following the 6-10 reset plan too well for the last few weeks, partly due to traveling and just bad habits. When my boys were home from college, they stay up late and I'm up with them and all that kind of stuff. And so, but last night, got to bed early. I woke up early and man, I felt good this morning. I got in a quick workout. And so that's another thing too, like going for a walk in the morning or doing some exercise. I mean, that just kind of gets you going, set you up for having a great day.
That's really great, because you just illustrated exactly what I was talking about. You know what? Your kids come home, you're up late, you're eating late, you're snacking at night and all that stuff, just because that's what it is to connect with people. You have to, connect at the times that you can. You do what you can. And so you do that for a couple of weeks, and then what? And then you just go right back to your program after everything calms down and everything. Then you go back to doing it. And so you did it exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah. Hey, we've got a good question here that just came in from Wendell, related to phase 1. How long do you stay in phase 1? So when do you know to switch to phase 2?
Well, that it's a little bit variable. It can take anywhere from a few weeks to a few months. And the way you know is when you no longer need medication and your blood sugar is normal. So if your blood sugar is normal and you no longer need medication, then you've pretty much finished the phase 1 program. Many people, I keep them in the phase 1 program till they reach their ideal body weight. So they may be normal for a long time until they reach their ideal body weight. But the reason for that is because during the phase 1, it's burning fat. You're using up all this excess stored energy that you have that's fat on your body. And so I tell people to keep going until they reach their ideal body weight. Somebody, if they're 50 pounds overweight, by the time they lose 20 pounds, they could have normal blood sugar, be off their medications, and feel fine. But I tell them, keep going until you get down to your 160 pounds or so. Just recently I had somebody with that, because that helps to maintain it much easier. If you get all the way down to your ideal body weight, then it's really easy to maintain the sugar. You don't struggle with it all the time if you're always on the edge.
Excellent. All right. Okay, I want to back up a question earlier that Krish asked. So Krish, here you go. All right, so this question has been asked several times, even last week, but it's not clear as to why physicians prescribe insulin injections in type 2 diabetics when there's so much insulin and insulin resistance in their body. Can you talk about that?
Okay. The question of why is an excellent question, and it's because we have given these two different illnesses the same name. It's because the blood sugar goes up that they're both called diabetes, and endocrinologists and doctors are not taught to measure insulin levels and look at insulin resistance. Instead, they only look at blood sugar. And so if the sugar is high, the natural thing to do is go, oh, they must need more insulin, and so to inject insulin. So even if they have excessive amounts of insulin, I have had people whose pancreas is putting out levels of 60 or 100, over 100, and they were given insulin to inject even more during this time. But they didn't need insulin at all. They had a ton of insulin. They were just so resistant. And so the reason that doctors do that is just because they're only looking at the blood sugar. They're not looking at insulin levels.
So it's like they're forcing more insulin into the body when that's really not going to help. I mean, does the increase in insulin help blood sugar numbers come down? Just they're overloading the system?
Yes. Yeah. And that's a really interesting, the body is not a yes or no question. It's a little more and a little less. Everything is on a scale. So if you put in a ton of insulin into the system, you're going to cause more sugar to go into even resistant cells, just because you've overloaded that cell with insulin. So even if they are resistant. So the answer is yes, the blood sugar will go down with the insulin, but like you said, you're overloading those cells with sugar. And in the case of like liver cells, they die. You know, you get fatty liver disease because the cells are dying because they're overloaded with sugar.
Hey, Ernie, good to see you on video here. And I just found your question here. Would you be willing to unmute yourself and ask that yourself? I'll just restate it here quick, but if we can unmute Ernie. He said, what's the cause of weight loss when you have type 2 diabetes? And should you not be gaining weight? So Ernie, looks like you're live here. So yeah, go ahead.
How are you doing? Yeah, sure. Yes, I'm an old faithful who's just who's been out of it for a little bit because I was traveling. So I'm happy to be back on, and thanks, Leslie, for these timely reminders. I appreciate that greatly. Yeah, so not undue anxiety, but I'm about 300, and I vacillate between 323 and 329 pounds. But lately, I've been seeing a very mild, now it might be in my head, but I've been seeing a very mild weight loss. For example, I see like my rings are going very easily into my fingers and stuff like that. So I'm just, and it's not like I'm making a concerted effort to lose weight, although I sort of intermittent fast, so I'm not eating as frequently as I used to before. So I don't know if that's contributing to it. So my question is, how concerned should I be losing weight because of type 2 diabetes without making a concerted effort to actually lose it? Which could.
Okay, that's a great question. So in the case where you have, where you weigh over 300 pounds and you're intermittent fasting, for example, every time your stomach is empty, your insulin level is going to drop down because you're not going to be absorbing any sugar because the stomach's empty. So when there's no insulin, that allows your body to burn fat. So intermittent fasting all by itself, even though you're eating the same amount, just because the insulin drops down, you can start burning fat. And you may notice some of the things that you're noticing, like, oh my gosh, my fingers aren't as fat as they were. Or I'm starting to lose weight off my belly. And that's the usual case of what might happen if you're going through a period of time of eating. So that's one, is that. And the second one is to know what your insulin level is, because sometimes people with type 2 diabetes, over a period of time, the pancreas will stop putting out so much insulin, and the actual insulin levels will drop, and then they'll start losing weight. In that kind of a case, that's really important to know, because then the pancreas may not be working as well, and that needs a different kind of treatment. Sometimes people even need insulin.
Thank you. Well,
Does that
by
answer
the
your
way,
question?
yes, I did do the insulin index test when I was in Miami a few weeks ago. I don't recall what it was, and I don't know if they calibrated differently, but I did specifically ask for that. And maybe the next time we're together next Tuesday, I can share what those results were.
Okay, was it positive? Did they tell you that you had insulin resistance, or did they say you didn't have insulin resistance?
Well, I think from what yes, so the insulin resistance is there. That's what they said. And they said that it's supposed to, I don't know if it was a high figure. I don't know if it was 8 or something. I don't recall. I was actually trying to get the office to email me my results so I could have actually shared it with you.
Oh, okay.
But what he said to me was, at this particular point, already you're producing half of the amount of insulin that your body actually requires, or something of the sort. So, but I'm trying to, yeah.
So that may be a reason for losing weight. If you're not making as much insulin, or your pancreas isn't making enough insulin,
Right.
then that may be a reason for losing weight. In which case, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you have to be really careful with your diet to not raise your blood sugar levels, because the insulin isn't going to handle that very well.
Yeah. So at the time when he did that, my hemoglobin A1C was at 8, and the following day he told me, okay, well then just sort of not have no sugars. When I came the following day, it was already at 7.3. So he said that, it looks like certain things can still work without having to use insulin. So and he pointed to weight loss as one of the fundamental things. So he told me, you just got to cut the sugar out and get the weight loss in.
Okay, good, excellent. So that's the right thing to do. Yeah, that makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah, great questions, Ernie. Thanks for sharing. Good to hear from you. Let's see. I wonder if we could have people raise their hand. Let's see. I think it's under. Well, Leslie, maybe you can tell. I think you can raise your hand on this thing, can't you? Oh, there is somebody. Debbie did. So raise your hand if you want to be on video, and if you have a question, and we'd love to have you ask that live here on video. And let's see. Okay. Oh, there we go. All right. So it shows up on the attendees side. So I think Leslie can help get them on video. So let's see. I had another question about, okay, somebody, I think it was Bob, asked about, they followed the Atkins diet and went into ketosis. He and his wife, what was that good for me? No carbs. We had urine strips to confirm ketosis. Was that overkill?
No, actually, that's a fine thing. The ketosis helps you repair your brain as well. There's a lot of benefits to ketosis, and as far as with diabetes, type 2 especially. Type 1, you don't necessarily want ketosis, or you have to be really careful to be in ketosis at type 1, because you have to manage that insulin. But when you have insulin resistance, you really want ketosis, because that repairs the damage and helps the pancreas to function better and helps fix all of the things that are damaged by high blood sugars. So when you're in ketosis, you're burning fat and not sugar because your sugar drops low. And then you make these ketones, and that's what ketosis is. You're making ketones, and the body burns ketones too. Even your brain, there are areas of your brain that can burn ketones. And what that does is allows a cleansing to happen, and you can make more glucose transport proteins and fix all of the things for the liver, the kidneys, the heart, and the brain. So ketosis is really good for that.
Yeah, for sure. Hi, Bonnie. We can see you now. Excellent. So let's unmute Bonnie here if we can. Say hello. I think you might have to do it on your side.
Unmute.
There we go. We can hear you. Hi, Bonnie.
Yeah, I had a question to ask. I had my A1C and it was 5.8, but I'm still on the metformin, and I not losing weight. It's very, very, I have lost some, but it's very, very slow. I have seen some lower readings on my sugars. They're a little higher again now. I don't know why.
Okay, so the 5.8 is sort of a borderline. It's not diabetes. It's what we call pre-diabetes, but it does indicate insulin resistance. Your average blood sugar at 5.8 is somewhere in the 130s, 140s, probably 140s on average, which means it can go up higher and go down lower. The metformin is a medication that helps your body to use fat instead of sugar, because it kind of inhibits your ability to use sugar. So it causes you to start using fat. So it should help the weight loss to some extent. And if you're not seeing the weight go down, it's usually because your insulin still may be too high. And the metformin doesn't help that. So the way to get the insulin down would be something like a 6 and 2, or a 6 and 10 program, where you're not eating after 6 o'clock at night and you go to bed by 10, so that you're having at least 12 hours with an empty stomach, and that brings the insulin down nicely. People who do periodic fasting or intermittent fasting, or if you look at the Prolon kits from Dr. Longo, that's 5 days of eating very small amounts of food. And so 3 to 5 days, like on a bone broth cleanse or something like that, or just being on the diabetes solution kit and doing that 20-gram carbohydrate diet. Those are the things that get the insulin down so that you can start burning fat more regularly and more easily.
So you can drop back and do that 20 carbs frequently, or if you've moved on from that?
Oh yeah, you can go back to that as much as you want and as many times as you want. And like I said, I tell my patients often, even after they've come down to normal blood sugars and gotten off their medications, I still keep them on it until they get to their ideal body weight, so that they could burn more fat.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Bonnie. All right, I think we'll take one more question here, and then we are going to wrap things up here, but we are going to open it up for one person that has a testimonial to share. We'd love to get that recorded here at the end, but we have a question in from Facebook from Natalie. Are there certain foods that trigger neuropathy?
Oh, that's okay.
The answer to that question is yes, if you're toxic, but no, not generally. In other words, there isn't a specific food. The toxicity of sugar, we often don't even talk it in that way about sugar. But anything that we do, if we do too much of anything, it's toxic. You know, last time we talked about people injecting Botox, one of the most toxic substances known to man. They inject it, you know, into their foreheads and around their eyes and around their face to hide wrinkles, to relax their skin. That's extremely toxic, and yet we're letting people inject it into our bodies. Well, it's because it's amount. We're getting a very tiny amount of it. By the same token, though, when we eat sugar constantly, it becomes toxic. And so the neurotoxicity of sugar is much misunderstood. So we say, okay, and because you have diabetes, you get these complications, neuropathy, for example. But don't say directly, oh, the sugar is toxic. It's killing your nerves. We don't say that, but that's part of what's going on.
All right. Excellent. Well, hey, this has been a great call, and great to see some new faces here, and really appreciate you guys hopping on video and helping us work through some technology. So, and in future calls, we'll probably be doing the same. So be ready to have your video camera on, and we'll continue to get to know each other. And Scott, thank you so much for answering all these questions. A lot of people commenting just how helpful this is, and so. Yeah, it's just testimony to your willingness to help. We really appreciate it. So now we get to decide who here. Let's show a raise of hands. If you can raise your hand, or even you know, in the Zoom you can do raise hand, or actually if you're on camera, raise your hand if you would like to be considered for today's video testimonial. Just sharing a story of how we've helped. You know, how either these webinars or the diabetes solution kit or one of our products like Synachroma, this has helped people a lot as well. So if anyone is willing to stay on here with us and just talk to us and share a testimonial that we can use to share with others, yeah, just give us a wave or raise a hand. And let's see, Leslie, help me out here. Do we have somebody with the hand raised?
We have Skip's hand, but I don't know if that was raised earlier or if he would like to go again.
Yeah. Skip, always good to see you. And
let's see. Thought I saw another one here. I'm scrolling. There's so many of you on right now. Let's see.
Yeah.
Pam said she would, but she has before.
Yep, and I think Skip has too. So Ernie or Bonnie, we've got you on camera. If you have any, if you want to hop on, we'd love to give you guys the opportunity. Pam and Skip, thanks as always for being awesome and willing to help us out here. So just wanted to see if anyone else that hasn't done that yet would hop on, and then yeah. So
I do love seeing your faces, you guys. I'm so glad you're enabling your cameras.
Yeah, thank you. Bonnie, do you want to share? We just need you to unmute, I think, and then we'll have to figure out how to get her video a little bit bigger screen here.
Yep.
Leo.
There we go. You're ready, Bonnie.
All right.
I've been taking the Synachroma and turmeric since September, and I have felt a lot less swelling and soreness in my hands and my feet. They were getting sore, and my blood sugar actually dropped down to as low as 109 for while I was on the 20 carbs. So I've seen a lot of help. I just didn't know I could go back because I had moved on to add the carbs. So the seminars are really helpful. They've encouraged me and kept me going, kept me working at it.
Awesome. Yeah, great to hear. Good work, Bonnie. Yeah, so So you talked about synochroma. Do you still have some of this, or you want me to? Can I send you some more?
I bought the synochroma when you had it on sale, so I've got a lot of it.
Okay, good.
Well, I
Well,
don't have the turmeric, and I don't have the Nervala. I haven't tried the Nervala.
okay. Well, I can send you some Nervala. Did you want more turmeric as well?
Sure, that would be great.
And then I'll send you healthy gut support as well. So we've actually got the healthy gut support on liquidation right now because the expiration date is coming up here soon. So we got new batch coming in here, but yeah, we're giving this liquidating this anyways. But yeah, we'll send you some Nervala, turmeric, and healthy gut. Nervala is for nerve pain and neuropathy. It helps to, I mean, Dr. Scott can chime in a little bit here, but it actually helps to repair and rebuild nerve cells, right?
I have some nerve problems in my feet underneath, just at the ball of my feet, where that are feels like I got a sock rolled up there or something. So I would try that.
Yeah. I went to the chiropractor yesterday, and there's a new doctor that was at the clinic, and she was working on my feet. Man, it hurt, but it was like a good, like she was like pulling and pushing, and like there must have been a lot of stress or something held in my feet, because man, it was like one of those hurt so good things. But sometimes she recommended, like if you have plantar fasciitis or anything like that, to use like a golf ball to roll it out. So maybe that might help as well, just to get some more circulation going there. Yeah.
I get my husband to give me a foot massage every night.
Hey, there you go. Good husband. All right. And then you mentioned turmeric. So this is a turmeric BP blend that has turmeric powder, turmeric root extract, and black pepper extract. And this is great for inflammation, anti-inflammatory, natural. It's like curcumin and like what curry has a lot of this in it. So, but this is just, yeah, something that helps with blood sugar, inflammation, heart issues. It's just all around good for you. And then healthy gut support. This is a digestive blend of prebiotics, probiotics, and digestive enzymes. And we've had a lot of good reports on this. This actually has apple pectin in it as well. A bit of my dad's story when he had really bad acid reflux for like 10 years and then realized if he ate an apple before bed, he could sleep through the night. And so that's got apple pectin in it. So this has been good. So yeah, and we'll send you these bottles, Bonnie. I'll get those out right away. And if anybody else wants some of that, you can just go to bartonwebinar.com and get some as well. So
I have a winter address that's not the same as I think where you sent the book.
Oh, okay. Yeah, type that into the chat, Bonnie, if you can, to the panelists, and I'll make note of that and send it out.
Actually, Bonnie, I'll send you a message here, a private message, and you can just respond to it, and then I'll get it.
Perfect.
Okay, that would work.
All right.
Thank you for these webinars. They've really been great for me. They have helped a lot.
Good to hear. No, that's, yeah, I'm very thankful. This is something we started doing about 5 or 6 months ago now. And it's really helped us too, just to be able to connect with people. And sometimes it's easy for us, working, just to kind of hide behind the computer and not talk to as many people, but to actually be able to interact and get your questions and hear that it's helping you means a lot to us as well.
I've shared the information with a lot of my friends too, so I hope they'll eventually start watching the seminars.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, well, thanks everybody. And we will we'll see you next Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Have a great week. Be blessed. Thanks, Dr. Scott. Thanks, Leslie.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.